We all love those anime series that depict stories of main characters who look or pretend to be weak or a wimp, but gradually, they show their true powers and turn into an overpowered, badass, cool character that both friends and foes start to respect. So welcome back to Animeology, and today we will show you the top 10 anime characters that pretend to be weak but are really overpowered. Before we begin, be sure to drop a like and subscribe down below for more anime top 10s. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Starting off our list at number 10, Goblin Slayer. Aside from the fact that the show, Goblin Slayer, also matches the main character's name, Goblin Slayer himself is truly a beast of a main character. Not only does the goblin eccentric killing machine just focus on the task at hand, but he does so while never showing any sign of weakness. While the mask on Goblin Slayer's face does make one wonder if he is grimacing during the tougher moments, it equally gives him the absolute perfect level of mysteriousness. No wonder why several of the main girls in Goblin Slayer love the dude so much. We love Goblin Slayer ourselves just because he's just so damn strong. The anime focuses on the overpowered main character together with the priestess, high elf, dwarf, and lizard man. The armored warrior will not rest until every single goblin in the Frontierlands has been eradicated for good. A cautionary warning when watching Goblin Slayer is that it isn't for the faint of heart. At times, there are some truly dark moments with rape, sodomy, and sexual assault sewn into the narrative. If you watched the series on Crunchyroll, you probably saw the warning of adult-like content that wouldn't be suitable to all ages, and that wasn't a warning to skip over. Up next at number 9, we have Black Cat. Train Hartnett is a famous assassin, nicknamed Black Cat. Train works for an organization known as Kronos. Train is known as Number 13, or marked as X111 in Roman numerals. Train is the silent type and is very powerful. He has been surrounded by violence since he was little. Train uses a gun made by Kronos and is very useful with it. He almost never misses a shot. Well, he never does, but they are sometimes blocked. Train is a nice guy inside and cares for others but doesn't really show it. After he meets a sweeper, otherwise known as bounty hunters, Train falls for Saya, the sweeper, and changes after an incident happens with one of Train's old partners and gets possessed with him. After this event happens, Train joins a man named Sven, who saved him and let him join him into the person he was supposed to kill, Eve. And this is how the whole story happens. At number 8, we have Darker Than Black. This anime first appeared in April of 2007 and proves even now to be extremely popular. It is included in genres like action, superpower, and sci-fi. The story takes place in a world where two portals, known as gates, have appeared. The Heaven's Gate appearing in South America, and Hell's Gate appearing in Japan. With these gates appearing, entities known as contractors appeared too. A contractor is someone who trades their humanity for extraordinary powers. Following a contractor named Hai, also known by many as Black Reaper, is the main protagonist of the series Darker Than Black, and although seemingly emotionless, he deeply cares for his close friends and family. Hai, as a contractor, controls electricity and is an expert in hand-to-hand combat. He uses various knives, blades, etc. to bring down his foes and has very high athletic ability. Although Hai hated killing, he plunged into the world of assassins and has killed hundreds, if not thousands, for his employers. Hai is also known as a Shinigami, a god of death, and is said to be an extremely efficient killer. Moving on to number 7 with Strike the Blood. Imagine a city dedicated solely to housing demons and other supernatural creatures. A city where demons, witches, and shamans are commonplace, and new magical advances are made every day. Kojo Akatsuki is an inhabitant of such a place, called Itogami City. Despite living in this place, Kojo only wants a normal life. Unfortunately, he happens to be a fourth progenitor, or an incredibly powerful vampire with a host of magical familiars. As such, this causes him to be labeled as a potential threat, and so the government sends an agent to observe him, and should he threaten the safety of the island's inhabitants, kill him. Thankfully for Kojo, the sword shaman sent to observe him is Yukina Himaragi, a high school girl who seems to be more interested in helping him defeat all the psychos that attack the city, as opposed to, killing him. Despite being a vampire, Kojo is a rather friendly one, preferring to drink his own blood in order to satisfy his bloodlust, and only drinking the blood of others when they explicitly agree to let him do so. The problem I see with Strike the Blood is the poor story execution that turns out to be dull for someone who isn't really into action or ecchi genres. And to make things worse, there are some plot holes about how Kojo became the fourth progenitor too. Up next at number 6 we have Classroom of the Elite.
初めて聞いたな。
Classroom of the Elite takes place at Kodo Ikusai Senior High School, a top-of-the-line prestigious high school where the students are almost guaranteed success in life. Here, students have freedom to do as they please, and they are given a monthly stipend to fund their every desire. Kodo Ikusai Senior High School appears to be a paradise, but underneath the surface, only the best students get treated well. D class is a class where the worst students are placed, and here we have our main character, Ayanakuji Kiyotaka. Kiyotaka is a student known for getting 50% on all of his exams. It's in this class where Kiyotaka befriends Horikita Sutsune and Kushida Kyukyo. At the beginning, Kiyotaka lacks the depth of a piece of paper. He seems really boring, as well as bored of the school. However, as the series progresses, we see that there's more to Kiyotaka as details are kind of shoved into the viewers. Kiyotaka appears to be willingly failing all of his tests with straight 50s across the board. He helps to resolve all of the class conflicts without putting much effort into them. Then there's that plot point that's shown at the end that implies that Kiyotaka and his father don't get along. So seemingly, Kiyotaka seems to be more complicated and intelligent than his status in Class D implies. Up next at number 5, we have Arya the Scarlet Ammo.
警戒する。だが、別の場所を狙って油断させれば。
Kinji Toyama wants to be a normal person, but as he is a Toyama, life isn't that simple. He attends a school called Butte High, where students train to become agents. They get given special access to all crime scenes and get tasked with missions that they must complete in order to get paid. The school system has rankings, S being the best and F being the worst. Kinji, of whom is in Class E, hides his full potential until one day he got forced to use it due to his perverted desires. From those turn of events, an S-rank Butte called Arya H. Kanzaki demanded to team with him. Together, they face some weird missions and get caught up in dangerous situations. This anime kept my attention from start to finish. It also has a great, well-thought-out plot and characters that are well thought out too, and they're introduced and developed really brilliantly. Overall, I recommend that you watch it as it's really enjoyable. Coming in at number 4, we have Chain Chronicle, The Light of Heisaites. Chain Chronicle is an anime that starts off with the defeat of the protagonist and follows the story of how they made themselves into a better version of themselves for the sake of their people and country. The animation is based on RPG game mechanics and is incredibly fun to watch if you love well-planned out action sequences. Make sure to catch Chain Chronicle if you love shows like Berserk and Re:Zero. The story of Chain Chronicle is a little messy. The series starts abruptly and we're thrown into a war between the protagonist and the Dark King. A sacred book must be protected and seemingly important characters randomly disappear. There is no proper introduction to the world of this exotic land, which is a little off-putting. That aside, the cliched heroic friendship bonds among the characters were not forced, and that slowly explains the setting of the world pretty well. The story focuses on multiple characters instead of a single protagonist. This makes the story even more interesting. Their personalities are diverse but memorable. Characters have great development, and towards the finale, they show an excellent depiction of these strongest points. At number 3, we have Daily Life of a Immortal King. Nowadays, Chinese anime are becoming more interesting, and here we have an anime of 2020 with an overpowered main character that you'll really like. Just ignore the Chinese voice and focus on the story, as well as the great animation style that it offers. The story starts off in the time when science and magic powers coexisted. A boy whose name is Wang is born. He's overpowered, and that's why his parents care for him very much. He can't control his powers, so he trained himself. In his starting days, he killed lots of monsters and demons, and he knows that his powers are dangerous, so he tries to hide his powers and pretends to be the weakest one. His parents also helped him until a girl named Su Rong got killed by a murderer. The Daily Life of the Immortal King did have quite a start. Awesome animation, all characters look unique, and the series portrays human emotions in a somewhat unique way. Action scenes are really spectacular, and there's hardly anything dissatisfying you'll find about this series. Coming in at number 2, Kanzai Fashion. This magical school anime depicts the story of the overpowered main character, Mo Fan, who woke up in a familiar world that has vastly changed. His school has become a school that teaches magic, encouraging everyone to become a mighty magician. Outside the city, many wandering magical beasts and monsters attack and prey on humans. A world of advanced science changed into one of advanced magic. Despite this, his ambition in life and his situation remains the same. One of the dregs of the society with a struggling father and a disabled stepsister that couldn't walk. However, Mo Fan found when everyone can only have one major element, he can actually do much more. It's a good anime with a good plot. I've watched tons of Japanese isekai, and I'll put this in the rank of one of the good ones. It will be a good anime to watch for every adult and teens. If you're into isekai, you should probably watch this. And finally at number 1, we have Rurouni Kenshin. The story of Rurouni Kenshin follows the overpowered swordsman Kenshin Himura, a legendary ex-assassin who's trying to find his peaceful new way in life. Now, as a wandering swordsman, Kenshin is trying to protect the people in Japan instead of going back to his former assassination life. During his previous life, he has seen that the world is bloodthirsty and thrives on violence, and he knows that's wrong. Kenshin is regaining his innocence. With each life he saves or spares, he seems to gain a bit of himself back. He's able to live a relatively good life with the spirited girl Karo and their growing collective of friends, like the wild-tempered but trustworthy Sanosuke, and the plucky pickpocket Yahiko. Almost every single one of these characters, as well as a goodly portion of the others, have great characterization, and many of the so-called bad guys are really would-be heroes who just happen to be working for someone else. You could be rooting for Kenshin to defeat a character in one episode, and then find yourself rooting for that very same character in the next. That's why you should really watch the Rurouni Kenshin series, as it showcases a huge theme of personal peace and forgiveness.